Good. All right. Well, welcome to cs101. If you're in the wrong class, you can go now. We won't embarrass you. Goal here is to make sure you have all your basic skills necessary expected in the world today. Tricky thing about our computer skills today is you have to keep up with them to be ready for a job tomorrow. You've grown up with a lot of computers, so I'm thinking you're finding them fairly easy to use. So we're just making sure we cover the general knowledge and we cover some basic things here. Let's go ahead and bring up, before we get going into a lot of stuff, let's go ahead and bring up the connection to the Elearn part. It looks like you're all logged into your PCs. Next thing to do is to make sure you can get to this site, elearn.emmaus.edu. Are you Paul?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome, Paul.
Okay. OT ran late, so.
You can sign into any of these PCs. And and by the way, when you're if you have work to do, there's other classes going on in here. They're not huge classes, and there's a lot of PCs available. You see, you're welcome to come and work in here, even when there's a class going on. If you find it's distracting you, you can bring in earphones, and you can plug in earphones and work away. And you are Anthony. Hello, Anthony. Anthony Flores. And Paul. And go ahead and you can sit on any PC. The back rows are the fastest ones. And the back rows, I believe they're all running Windows 10 in the back row as well. The first three rows are running Windows 8.1. And we're basically just getting started here, getting you, first of all, logged into the PC. If you ever come and you sit down at a PC and it's not logged in, you can log in with the user student and password student. If you find that it's got some weird things, sometimes these people that have been here before are logged in as a different user, and that can cause strange problems if you're expecting to find your files and you didn't realize you're logged in as someone else. To be safe, you could always log out first and then log in as student just to make sure you are who you think you are. So on your PC, you can log in there, and then of course you can bring up the browser and browse to elearn.emmaus.edu. And I don't care which browser you use. In Windows, you can search for the browser. Sometimes you'll see the icon on the desktop. I use Firefox just because I found that Chrome really takes over my CPU speed and slows me way down sometimes. But Chrome is very popular. So whatever browser you use, and we'll talk about browsers and things as just going over the basics. And remember, in this class, we're not assuming you know a ton of stuff about computers. If I find that all of you know a lot about things we're talking about, I'll kind of gloss over that. But I'm not assuming that you know everything. So it's your job to not be embarrassed when you have a question. Don't think, well, I'm the only one who doesn't know this. I feel so stupid. If we're making you feel stupid, that's our fault. Don't keep that from you from asking questions. Question?
So we're just logging in as if we're logging into our email, right?
It's similar, and it should be it's the same password they gave you. I think they set this password to Elearn the same as your email initially. But if you can't get in, I can reset your password. So try the one you use for email, and if it doesn't work on the Elearn, it looks like everyone's trying to get into the Elearn right now. Let me bring up the Elearn site, and I'll bring up a separate browser just so I can see exactly how, I'll show you exactly how it looks. I'm using Chrome right now just so I can have a separate browser window from my other one where I'm logged in already. So if I bring up the browser, I'll browse over to elearn.emmaus.edu. It's not the same login as your Gmail. Gmail is a separate login, a separate system. Maybe one day they'll be connected and all you have to do is one login. That's called a single sign-on. We don't have single sign-on going here with the Elearn system. So here, this will be your main page to the Elearn. This is where we have online resources for your classes. We've been using this software this website software for, I don't know, about 12 years now. Our EDL, our Emmaus Distance Education, is based on the same kind of software. Some of the teachers use it extensively. Dr. Van Dyne, retired last year, used it extensively. Some teachers maybe have a file or two on Elearn. It is confusing though, because our email page also talks about elearn.emmaus.edu. But that's a separate account. That's a Gmail account using the similar name. So you'll get here. Oh, this is incorrect. We moved on to 3.0 Moodle. Ooh, cool stuff. So if you're not logged in, you can click on the login. And if you want to try this, if you have an email address and you don't know your username or password, your username should always be your first initial last name. Mine is slightly different because I use my middle initial. Most of you should have first initial last name. If you can't remember your password, you can always try this link. I believe this link works. It will send an email to your first initial last name at emmaus.edu, and it should come to your Elearn email account that they gave you. But if that doesn't work, if you don't get an email, I can go in and set your password because I have admin access to the whole system. So you come here, log in, and then you should see a page like this. Reason you know you're logged in is you see your name at the top. And if you want to mess with your profile up there, just click on your name and you can adjust your profile settings. And you can see your courses you have, and you can edit your profile where you can change your password if you like. You can give yourself a new password and adjust some other things in your profile. Because some people were putting up goofy icons, I think we didn't enable that you can mess with your image, but I'm not sure. Oh, look at that. It seems to let you upload a new picture. So at this point, it looks like you can play with your picture. All right, but first, before I go any further, let's see, can everyone get logged in? Esther, you're in?
Not yet.
I'm not.
Jared, you're in?
I'm not. I don't remember my password for Elearn. It's different than everything else.
Okay.
You can go faster. Oh gosh.
Katie, are you in?
Yep.
You're logged in. Hannah, are you logged in?
Yes.
Good. So we got 2 out of 5 logged in. 2 out of 6 logged in. All right. So we'll start with Esther. Are you still trying, Esther?
Yes.
Okay.
I know
Jared-
how to do it. It's just it's sending me not the right email to reset my password. It's sending me an email just saying that there's been access to my.
Okay. I'll just change it from here then. That'll be
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, when I hit search, it's just not even bringing up anything.
All right. So I will go to the administration and set your password manually. I was hoping that the forgot password thing would send you an email, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Well, it sent me an email. It just didn't send me the same email as I'm used to receiving.
All right, so Jared, I am changing your password. I'm going to change your password to Jared.16. Let's see if it takes that. It does require a certain complexity. It looks like it took that, so it's Jared.16. All right, next, let's remove that filter. Esther, did you get in? Okay. And so it's
It's gonna
Paul.
take a minute for it to.
All right, Paul, changing yours. Setting yours to Paul.16. See if it takes that.
I think that's my new password.
Seems. Oh, it didn't like that. Wasn't long enough.
But like salmon wants
Let's try that. It looks like it took that. Salmon.16. P Salmon?
Did you capitalize it?
Yes. with a capital S.
Oh, is
And
it
same with
capital-
Jared, capital J.
capital
Sorry,
J?
yeah, I
Sorry.
forgot about it.
Oh.
It wants a mix of uppercase, lowercase, a number, and a non-number character, a special character. And
Is it,
so Jared, Jared
oh,
.16. Did I spell it right?
yeah, it's not right.
Capital J. And
Yeah, I just tried capital J, but I'll try again. Maybe it's just
J Garinger, and then password capital Jared .16. It's just J Garinger is your username.
Oh, you don't have to do .Emmaus?
Nope.
Oh, that's fine.
There's your login is your first initial plus your last name. That's your only login. And you can do that same thing on Gmail. You don't have to. Well, no, yes you do. On the Gmail one, you do have to add the @elearn.emmaus.edu. But in this one, it's only your first initial last name for your username. All right, let's get Mr. Flores here. So, are you related to our maintenance guy?
Yeah, he's my uncle.
Oh.
He's not.
Could have. There's lots of relations, so I wouldn't be surprised. So we'll make it Flores with a capital S. I mean capital F .16. Flores .16 with a capital F. And I just updated it, see if it took it. It seems happy with it. Okay. So now once you're in, you should then be able to go in there and let's see, you can always go to the main page and you can see your course categories. I believe, well, see how I have these little blocks here. If I click on them, they pop out and they're sitting here like this. They kind of get in my way, taking up my space. I will click on that little arrow to the left to dock it, and then you don't have the space being taken up by all these blocks. So I like to dock all the blocks just to give me more space on the page. If you don't like them docked, you can click them and click the little arrow to the right, and it pops it out. So when I view the page, all my little blocks on that left, they're all hidden, and when I hover over them, I'll see all the settings in there. The navigation one, if you go to My Courses, you should see then this course listed under My Courses, because I have already enrolled you manually into the cs101 course. Okay, and now I'll go browse to that. Another way to browse to that is I can go under the General Education category and see the cs101 S16 for spring 2016. And then I'm here, and I'm going to dock all these little blocks in here because they're squeezing all my useful information out of the middle. So I'm going to dock that. I'm going to dock these. And now I have my main class. I can see everything. So let's go over what we have here then, because this is what we're going to be using every day that we come in here. Here's typically what I'll do is I'll check the class. First thing I look at is the assignment schedule, and I'll click on that. It is set up to open a link in a new window. This is a shared document in Google Docs. This is actually a Google document that I have shared as a web page. This is the general schedule of the assignments and their due dates. So check this to see what is expected to be turned in by certain days, and you see today, 6th of January, nothing expected to be due by midnight tonight, but we'll be talking about a lot of stuff. Here's the assignments coming up. Sometimes I may forget about one, or I may have added one here that's not there. This is subject to change just as we go, and I may push things ahead. Usually I push them ahead. Sometimes we're getting ahead in the schedule and we can move up the assignment. Usually if it's moved up, I'll just leave it due. You can always turn in assignments early. You're not going to be penalized for turning assignments in early. We'll come back to here and discuss some of these instructions here as we get going on different projects. This class is largely based on projects, just because learning computers, I find most people learn best just hands-on. Just let me do it. I don't want to make you just answer questions about, where do you click when you do this? There are a few questions like that, and there's practice quizzes that have questions like that. But the main work here is, hey, let's work through some real projects, real world projects using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access, and just learn by using. So we'll be coming to these, lots of projects. Turning them in on time is important. Okay, we'll be coming back to that. So you can always click that. It will always open up a new window. I generally like new windows rather than having to go back 1,000 times to get back to my main page. And you can always close that tab, and then when you want to get back to it, just click it again, and it'll open up a new tab for if you want to view that again. You are welcome to print these out. Because it's computer-based, I hardly ever print anything out. I'm always using online resources, so I haven't printed these out, but you are welcome to if you like. Okay, back to the main class here. We always need to go over the syllabus. Let's see if that link is working. I was updating these the last few weeks, and let's see if I made the syllabus. Uh-oh, looks like it's pointing to the wrong syllabus. Let me fix that right now. I thought I had the right syllabus in there. See how it's pointing to 2015? It hasn't changed a whole lot except for, the dates and times, but just let me fix that before I forget that. And I'm going to go and edit that very quickly. So I'm going to go into my Gmail and get the link to that shared document, which is out in the cloud, and we're going to be doing some cloud-based assignments. If you look at your assignment list, you'll see we're going to be doing cloud computing. It's one of our first few projects. How much do you know about the cloud? What in the world is the cloud?
It's a personal storage for a bunch of information
Yeah.
that you can store and retrieve it from different computers.
Yep.
And they usually compress it so it's easier to download.
And where is it located?
And
Where is that storage located?
Huge databases, usually.
Yeah. Websites out on the internet somewhere that gives you a personal login. Do you know what cloud computing services have any of you used?
Google.
iTunes.
iTunes, yeah. iTunes is stored in the cloud, but often they will download an iTunes. Actually, do you know when you're playing an iTunes, it actually is downloading it somewhere to your PC and playing it?
But then you just override it later on.
Yeah, and usually it's in a temporary location, but it's actually a downloaded file to play it. And that's why if you lose connection, your tunes won't stop playing. When it's not downloaded, it's doing what they call streaming, which means you're getting pieces of it at a time as it plays. And if you lose your internet connection, it'll stop playing because it hasn't downloaded your file. Yeah, iTunes is in the cloud. Can you name any other?
Google Docs.
Yeah, Google Documents. They're stored on Google's vast number of servers. Not sure where they keep them all, but they're in multiple places across the world. Google is so big that they have multiple places across the world. And their documents, when you use a Google document, we don't know where it's stored. It's likely stored in the closest server, but no guarantee about that because it's up to Google to keep track of that. All right, I'm going to go fix that link right now before I forget in that syllabus, and then we'll go over make sure I'm reviewing the latest syllabus. So just go ahead, keep exploring there while I edit that really quickly here, and I'll show you what happens now when I edit it. I'm going to edit that one little link that says that says syllabus. Oh, maybe I didn't update the syllabus. I'm not seeing this 2016 syllabus. I was all worried about the assignment schedule, and I guess I didn't make a new version of the syllabus. All right, we'll go with the old version of the syllabus right now. I do have the new assignment schedule, but not the new syllabus. All right, we'll just go over this syllabus then, because it's pretty much the same. All right, so we have our standard template for a syllabus here. It's gone from fall 2015 to spring 2016. I'll update that by next class time. Here's the basic outcomes that we're looking at. Well, we'll look at the description first. Let's zoom in on that. our course description here is basic computer fundamentals along with some of the basic office productivity software. Excel, Word, Access, and PowerPoint. There's other office productivity applications we're going to learn. Those are the main ones. So we'll have main project in that. So you can almost call this an Office 2013 course with extra computer things to learn along the way. So how many of you have used Office applications, Microsoft Word? You've done projects already, right, in your classes? And what is Microsoft Word?
Document-based program.
Yeah, document editing program, some call it a word processing program for creating electronic documents, printing them out, and publishing them. In your classes, have you uploaded your projects or have you always done hard copies?
I've uploaded before.
How about here at Emmaus? Is there teachers here at Emmaus that have you upload?
Yeah.
Have they?
I'll do it next year.
Okay. In this course, it's pretty much all upload. All your assignments that we do, you upload them to our system. And the Elearn system, we'll go through that as we complete assignments. And doing some research on the web to know what is the latest computer things, computer knowledge I need to know to be a good employee out there in a ministry or vocation. And remember with that, it's always changing. And we want to emphasize the ethical use of our resources. Ethical use for you, mostly here at Emmaus, is the non-plagiarism, right? You're doing research, you've got some information, make sure you cite your sources. That's probably the biggest ethical thing I've heard of regarding your classes here. The other ethical part is reasonable use of the internet resource, so everyone else in the school is not blocked because I'm watching or playing games or Netflixing, downloading huge files so no one else can use the internet. Have you seen issues regarding bandwidth last semester? Any issues? Basically what we try here is not impose huge restrictions on your internet use. We know that occasionally people might be using Netflix or downloading big files. As long as it's not taking up all this bandwidth, that means no one else can get data from the internet, we're not making a big deal about it. Mr. Newland is the one that's kind of the network cop right now. I help him. We can look at the traffic and see what's going on when there's trouble. Usually we don't worry about things unless there's trouble. There are filters, and we can always go back and see where people have been in case a question comes up that we're suspicious of something. That's when we might start coming down on everyone regarding specific rules and filtering out no Netflix at certain times, no access to Facebook. All sorts of restrictions can start being imposed if we run into trouble. So far, I haven't heard of any big trouble like that to have to worry about it. And thankfully, I don't want to have to worry about that because I got plenty of other things to worry about, just keeping these computers up to date and working, and me keeping up to date on what the latest things are. It is your job as a citizen of our network here to be a good citizen and to help us know in IT how things are going. If there's trouble, don't be afraid to call the front desk and say, hey, the network's down in Harlow 3. There was many times, more than one time, the network has been down all weekend, and I come in on Monday, and students will say, hey, have you fixed the network yet? And I'll say, we didn't know it was down. No one called. So don't be afraid to call if there's trouble, because we want the network to be available to you. Be a good citizen. Be reasonable in your use of it. Be paranoid when it comes to security. Don't give away your passwords. That's something we're going to be hitting all the time. Change your passwords to your sites that you go to. There's regularly major sites are getting hacked into, and users and password and personal information is just being given away. Very likely, most of your personal information is already out there on the internet. It's just a matter of being careful, being reasonably careful that you're not exposing yourself more than everyone else. And watch for signs of your information being out there, because it's a real headache when somebody steals your identity. And that's probably going to become a bigger problem as more and more people get on the internet, more and more holes are found in software. That's another reason we have to keep our software up to date, because there's bugs in there that are being fixed. So we'll be talking about that general computer information all the way through, but mainly focusing on Microsoft Office 2013. And I haven't heard when the next version is coming out. It's likely to be coming out in a year or so, and the next version of Office. That's just the way computers are. Okay, so now we'll go looking at some of the basic skills that we want to develop with you as we go through this course. Basic computer components, and me being a background of electrical engineering and working with computers, I love talking about the inner workings of computers, partly to make sure you kind of understand how they work, and maybe inspiring you to perhaps get a little deeper into the field. It never hurts, even if you're not going to be a computer geek or an IT person, knowing how they work will make you a better employee no matter what you do. You may find you like it, and you can help others through it. You would make a great person to help train other people, even without being a supercomputer expert. I know one person that was an expert on Access. She wasn't super Access guru, but she was able to explain it to other people. And Access is a program that's harder to understand than the other three, but it's very powerful. And she made a good money, decent money, just being a trainer for people just to use Access. If you find you like explaining things to people, even without being a geek or guru, you could be a trainer. And here's some of the things as we use the computers: organizing our files. After becoming familiar with the computer, being well organized in how you store them, understanding some basics about the software, and we're going to be talking about that, operating system versus application, using PowerPoint presentation. We do cover Prezi and another program called OpenOffice presentation software, using document editing, spreadsheets, and Access database. So basically we cover, again, Office. And we want to make sure that you're familiar with alternatives. There is OpenOffice, and there are other things out there. In the cloud, I should probably add to this things like Google Docs. Want to make sure you're familiar with that. There are some assignments just using Google Docs and the capabilities there. Here is our book, and there is online material available. Let me click on that link and see where it takes me. Make sure that link is good. I have to constantly test my links because sometimes they go dead. That one, I don't think it's gone dead. Looks like it's coming up. There is a link to the book, and it has free material for every chapter. I can select any chapter, and in that chapter I have activities that go with that. Sometimes we will work through these in class just as for fun. Let's take a look at the one. The flashcards is fairly popular. Sometimes they require flash. Let's see if these will work. It's thinking about it. Oh, there we go. Thinking about some basic terminology. I can go through these terms and just flip through them just to understand some basic terminology. These flashcards aren't as exciting as they used to be. I used to be able to have a little game that you could give you multiple choice on what was on the card. Here's your general glossary. You can go through all the terms. There we go. And just have them listed there. You will also find this glossary in the back of the chapter. And so I'm going to quick look take a look here at the book as we before we get into the topics. Let me bring up the online version of the book so you can see rather than me bringing it up another way here. I'm going to bring up the online book. I can, as an instructor, have free access to this. For you, you can actually have access to the online version for a semester at, I'm not sure, remember what they're charging in the library for the book, for rental?
$15 for
15?
Yeah, 15.
That's not too bad.
No.
The online version, I think they make available for a semester, I think it's more than 15. But notice the, to have it online, you do have to have internet access, and you're subject to the speed of their website. I'm going to sign in and bring up the online book. Just to kind of show you in the book what's available here. Let's see, this is the introductory. I better go to my bookshelf. They have multiple versions of this book, which has gotten me confused. And I think that's it right there. So as we go through the book, I'm going to go to the textbook walkthrough. Each section in the book, at the beginning of every chapter, they give you a roadmap of what's going to be covered in that chapter. And then it gives you step-by-step instructions as we work through projects. Lots of pictures. So as thick as the book is, don't let it intimidate you. It's mostly pictures walking you through projects. I will be going through many of these projects in class and recording them, and I'll even make those available to you as we go through various things. You may find that all of this stuff, you've done this all before, and you don't need a step-by-step walkthrough. If you are that way, what I would recommend is you go to the end of the chapter, and I don't know if they discuss this in the discussion of the book. There we go. There is. At the end of every chapter, there is a chapter summary and different things describing the things you should know, we should have learned in that chapter. I recommend, if you think that you're pretty good at Word, jump to the end of each chapter and browse through the things that they talk about in each chapter, and it shows you the page that that subject refers to in that chapter. So you can review, oh yeah, I know about this, but wait a minute, what do they say here? Modify report columns. I don't remember exactly what they mean by that. It shows you the page where that is mentioned. And this new interface doesn't let me zoom in like it used to. I used to be able to zoom in nicely on the text. And let's see, let me fit. It doesn't let me zoom any further like it used to. Everything new, you lose features you used to have. Well, at the end of every chapter, that's your summary. And so I would, even if you think you know Microsoft Word, jump to the end of WD1 and say and look through what was covered in that particular chapter. And I'll be reminding you as we go. So your general approach to each chapter is look at the roadmap, what we're planning to do in each project and each chapter. Kind of familiarize yourself with that. And also, another thing you can do, and then we go back to the main course here, with each, let's look at the assignment. You'll see things called e-quizzes due in the assignments. Let me show you what those are. Down here in the class, as we go through each section, you will come to a thing, let's see, we're in the basics right now, and as I've taught this class over the years, I've added links here that I think can be helpful, and some of them may be dead, we'll have to check that. But as we go through the chapter, you will see these little things appearing in Elearn. These are what I'm calling e-quizzes. When you see the little hand under them, that means it's an assignment. Let's look at this first e-quiz. I click on this, and I can continue the last attempt or you may see Start the Quiz. These quizzes can be taken unlimited number of times. But, notice here, you must have it completed by a certain day. So once you get to this certain day, that e-quiz will close, and the score you get on that e-quiz is whatever you did so far. If you did not even do the e-quiz, that means that score is a 0. The thing about these e-quizzes, this is just for you to review the material. You can have this e-quiz open as you read through the book. And you can answer the questions as you go. You can sit with your friend and go over these questions. Even if you want to ask your friends what all the answers are, you could do that. It wouldn't be very helpful with you learning, but I'm not stopping you from doing that. The thing you have to do is go through and put in the answers and then submit. At the very bottom, you can do next and submit all your e-quizzes. This is open book as many times as you want to take it. No reason not to get 100 on all your quizzes. You can print them out. Control P will print this out, and then you can fill in the answers as you read somewhere else in a nice warm corner with your book. And then come back after figuring out the answers and just filling them in. The multiple choice may be harder to see your choices when you do the printout. I forget if in the printout it shows you all your choices. These may be the only ones that may be harder to do from a printout. All these others, you could have all the answers figured out as you read through the book and then come back and fill them in. I've tried to make these not so cumbersome that it takes hours and hours to do one, but enough to help you review the material. Don't forget, when it's a little square box, what they call modified multiple choice, there may be more than one correct answer. Regular multiple choice is the little round dots. One of them is correct. If you find problems with these, sometimes there's images that don't show up because the system, when we did upgrades or something, lost the images. I can go back and see if I can find the images that go with some questions. Most of the times, it's fairly simple questions regarding computer technology. So this is the e-quiz that I'm referring to right here, e-quiz Intro to Computers. I try to be clear on the names I give them just to not confuse you. So if you see Intro to Computers, that should be the name I see up there. And again, I can go back to the course and look for those little check marks, e-quizzes. Our assignments will be displayed in little paper with a hand underneath those. These little boxes on the right are little completion marks, kind of just to give you a visual indication of what you've done so far in the course. As you've completed things and as they've been graded, you'll see these boxes get checked in, just to give you visual feedback on how your progress is going. And you can remind me when you've turned something in and you haven't seen a grade yet, you can send me a reminder or email, Mr. Manning, what's my grade on that? And I'll remember, oh yeah, I got to go back and grade those projects. It's a little easier in this course than when I have 32 projects and I've got lots of other stuff to do and I forget about going back and grading them. So don't be shy about reminding me. All right. Let's get into some of the basics here. Let's just talk about our general computers now, unless there's questions about any of this. Oh, as I remember, as we're in here, there's lots of links to lots of helpful things. One thing here, where is it? If I look under activities, that lists the assignments coming up. Or I'm looking for grades. Underneath, you'll see a grades menu there. When you click on your grades, you can see your grades you're getting for the course. And I can show everyone's grades. Everyone has a 0 right now. That's because we haven't done anything. So I can look at everyone's grades. When you click on grades, you'll see your grades for all your assignments. And if there's a dash there, that means I have not graded it yet. And as we get into assignments, we'll be going into more detail about that. But this is where all the assignments are turned in using the Elearn system. This is available from anywhere. So you can be working on this from home. When you're on break, I don't want to give you work over break, but sometimes people wait till break to actually get started on things. So they're available from anywhere. I can turn off or have assignments automatically shut down at due date. Watch for that. Oh, another thing in the assignment schedule, this is the master assignment schedule. Sometimes in Elearn, I may have accidentally set a wrong due date when I configured the assignment, like the Office 86. If this is showing a different due date than what is here, this is the correct one. So go by this for assignment due dates. Don't, or you can ignore these if the system shows a due date. Usually I've turned them off, but sometimes they'll show a due date that's incorrect. If there's ever a due date showing up that confuses you, this is the authoritative due date of things. All right, enough of me talking. Let's do a little bit of reading through the book here. Let's bring up some of the basics of computers here, and maybe get your background in technology. So let's go down the list here. Tell me what you have for a computer, what you're doing with it. Let's start over here with Anthony. What do you have for a computer?
HP.
Running Windows
What's the latest?
10? Are you running Windows 10? So it's a fairly new computer?
Oh wait, no. Windows
8?
8.
Yeah.
Now, if you have Windows 8, you may be getting a little message from Microsoft. Do you want to upgrade to Windows 10? Click here to upgrade. Unless you know that there's some features in Windows 10 that you want, I might hesitate from upgrading to Windows 10. It'll likely work, but there have been some people that have had problems upgrading Windows 10. It does take about 4 hours to do the complete upgrade. I haven't seen people jumping up and down like, oh, I got Windows 10 and I have so many great things. Some of the geeky people are much happier with Windows 10. There are some things about Windows 8 that they just hated, and they've improved that in Windows 10. So if you talk to the real nerds, they'll say, yeah, Windows 10 is a good improvement.
Not better than Windows 10. My opinion, at least.
Yeah, it's like back to the things that worked in Windows 7. They broke a lot of things with 8 and 8.1, and people complained, and finally they said, well, okay, we'll go back and fix some things. Remember, with any upgrade, they're fixing some security things. That's the main thing with upgrades, is there are security issues that we just have to remember. That privacy thing I mentioned. To keep the privacy a little safer, Windows 10 has some better things. Problem is, Windows 10 also introduced some goofiness in, let's share all your connections with the people that are in your contacts lists. And I'd say I always turn off all those default settings when they ask me about Windows 10 upgrade. Paul, what's your computer situation?
MSI, it's Windows 10.
And what kind of applications do you use?
Mostly gaming, but a lot of more going to be coursework now. So.
What gaming? What games do you like?
A lot of games on Steam and Battle.net, and just pretty much any Steam game. I don't know. Wide variety.
Okay. So you've got with game computers, how much memory do you have?
16 gigs.
Yeah, 16 gig. You generally for any graphics and things, you want to basically pack in the memory as much as possible. And we'll talk about memory versus storage. Hannah, what's your computer situation?
I use my mom's MacBook Air, and I think it's a Windows 10, I believe. Yeah.
MacBook, Windows 10.
There you go. Office, probably Office 2010.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess
Okay.
so.
Now, what do we know about the differences between the Macs operating system, the Macs and PCs.
Mac is much more simpler and easier to use.
Do you find it that way? Have you used? Well, I guess have you used the school's computer much compared to your
Yeah.
MacBook?
Yeah,
What do you?
I like the MacBook better, but I mean, I guess some people don't.
Now I have a MacBook that I can run Windows inside of a virtual system. Boot Camp is a similar one. I use VirtualBox.
Yeah.
But I can run Windows inside of my Mac. I only have 8 gig, as it's about a 6-year-old machine. But I'm still fairly comfortable. It's not bogging down a ton when I run. I could be running Windows and doing other things. It's not slowing way down. So I'm pretty happy with my Mac operating system. Katie,
HP with Windows 10.
and using what applications?
Pretty much just Microsoft Word.
And Hannah, I forgot to ask you, applications you're using on the MacBook Air. I'm guessing you're using the browser a lot to
Yeah.
go to various sites to do your work.
Yeah, and Microsoft Word and everything.
Okay. So you're using documents. You're not using Cloud or Google Docs. You're doing Microsoft Word locally.
Yeah.
Okay. Jared.
MacBook Pro.
Ooh, another Mac person.
I have the latest operating system. I don't have like the Leopard or whatever. I have the
Mavericks.
Yeah, I think I have.
Yosemite.
I don't know which one it is honestly, but it's not one of those other ones. It's not like a cat or anything.
Right.
And then I have.
Did it go from Lion to Yosemite to Mavericks? I don't remember the.
Yeah.
El Capitan. Sorry, I have El Capitan.
I don't know which one of those I have, but I
The
know I
latest
have-
is El Capitan, I believe.
Okay, I think that's probably what I.
And you can
have.
tell by what you see on your screen. Do you see a mountain on your screen or
I have Oceans,
oceans?
except I don't use that as my main desktop. But when its default is an Ocean,
Okay. Okay.
so I don't know what one that.
Okay,
is.
and then what applications? Word processing.
I have I have Microsoft Word installed. I think I have 2008
Okay.
on there, and I mean that's mainly what I use. That in the browser.
All right. And Esther.
I have Toshiba and Windows 10,
Okay.
and mostly for browsing.
Okay. So it sounds like a lot of you are familiar with Microsoft Word. We'll be doing that first, so easing you into the course, and then I think as we go, the most useful thing out there in the industry is going to likely be Excel, but we're not hitting that till the second half of the semester. First part, Word and PowerPoint are the main subjects. But before we even do Word, we're going to be making sure we're familiar with organizing files and things, and that's what we'll be talking about next time. Have a great day. Now with these, you log out of the Elearn. Log out of the Elearn site, and you don't have to log out of the PC, but you're welcome to. Yeah. What I'll often do is instead of logging out, I'll hit Control-Alt-Delete, and I will do a switch user, so I don't have to completely go through a fresh login.
Trying to figure out how to work my schedule out and everything, because I was wanting to get this class in. Logical analysis, is that what it's called?
There is a logical analysis,
Yeah,
but it's
but-
not at this time.
Well, you can't take both of them in the same semester, can you? This class.
This is a prereq to the logical, I think.
Yeah. So he initially told me like